While Pawn Stars is famous for lowballing, there have been times when sellers were offered way more than they expected. From a royal Russian sword, to a real-life samurai helmet, and even an insane Fabergé Black Widow brooch worth tens of thousands of dollars. These are the 5 items where sellers got way more than they ever hoped for.
This is Vegas, and I just told this woman she hit the jackpot, and now she wants another spin.
Starting with the Russian sword we mentioned. The owner had inherited it from his late grandfather, but since he didn't have any use for it, he decided to sell it. The seller wanted $40,000 for the sword, but Chumlee instantly noticed that something was off about it. Its sheath looked fancy and had some Russian writing with the date 1810. But the blade itself had some Arabic letters on it. He couldn't figure out where exactly it came from, so he called in a professional to take a look.
I'd like to have someone come in and take a look at it, especially if you're asking money like $40,000.
Of course.
The expert came in, took one look at the sword, and was completely blown away. Apparently it belonged to a Russian prince who died in battle, and if auctioned in front of the right audience, it could sell for anywhere between $75,000 to $100,000.
So this sword belonged to a Russian prince, and he was killed at the Battle of Brienne in France.
Unfortunately, Chumlee tried to lowball him by offering only $20,000. But after finding out the sword had a potential for almost 4 times Chumlee's offer and 2 times his asking price, the seller wasn't going to settle for that amount. The owner walked away with his sword, and a quick Google search would tell you that he sold it later on in an auction for $30,000. Lower than its potential value, but more than what Chum offered for it. It's insane how many ups and downs this guy had with this royal sword, but it's not nearly as crazy as the Fabergé Diamond Spider I mentioned. But before we get to that, let's talk about another rare sword. If he played his cards right, this guy could have been the luckiest seller in Pawn Stars history, because he actually just resold this item to Rick. So, he walked up to the counter claiming that this sword was a Moorish sword from the 17th century that was found in a cave in England. It was a huge claim, and initially Rick thought he was full of crap and said that he would call an expert to check it out. Rick was sure the sword would be seen as the rusty piece of iron and nothing else. But he was absolutely shocked when the expert confirmed that it was indeed an authentic Pulwar sword from Afghanistan that was used for battles. The only problem was that it needed restoration, which would cost some money. All in all, it was valued at $5,000.
Okay, so what's it worth?
If I restore this for you, it'll be worth on the outside $5,000.
But Rick tried to lowball the seller. They agreed on $300, but the crazy part? This guy bought it for only $15,000. And something even crazier is that he could get $5,000 and still decided to sell it. A few days later, Rick received this beauty of a sword, now worth 15 times more than his investment. And if you liked these war items, you won't believe the samurai helmet this guy had, straight from the Japanese Edo period. Unlike most of the items that Rick buys, the story behind this samurai helmet is a little different. Rick was enjoying his time on the road when he entered a random town and stopped at the local antique shop. He walked in to check if they had any hidden treasures and saw something special on a shelf. A real-life samurai helmet from the late Edo period with a price tag of just $300. Rick was honest with the owner of the antique shop and told him the helmet could go for $2,500.
I probably shouldn't tell you this, but you're not asking nearly enough for this thing, because it could retail for as much as $2,500.
Really?
Yeah.
After a bit of haggling, they settle for $1,650 and call it a day. It's amazing that the owner sold it for 5 times his original price and could have gotten up to 8 times more without Rick as a middleman. And just like the Russian sword we talked about before, helmets like this can go for up to $7,500 if auctioned in front of the right audience. But still, it's nothing compared to that Fabergé Black Widow. But before we talk about the spider brooch, check out this coin that was sold for 50 times more than its owner's asking price. This guy walked into the shop with very low expectations for this old coin. His idea of a good price tag was $100 for the item.
How much you want for it?
I'd be thrilled with 50 or 100 bucks.
But when Rick called in the expert, the seller's mind was blown away. Rick had a guess that the coin was really valuable, and the expert only confirmed that. They discovered it was a medal from the voyages of one of the greatest captains in the world, Captain Cook. The expert valued it at $7,500.
To me, it's about a $7,500 to $8,500 item.
That's amazing.
But Rick and the seller settled on $5,000.
You know why I'm going to give you $5,000 for it?
Why?
Because you owe it to me. So I think $5,000 is a deal.
Okay, thank you.
His asking price was multiplied 50 times, and he became $5,000 richer, all because of a random coin he found while cleaning his grandma's house. How awesome is that? But not as awesome as that Fabergé Black Widow we are talking about now. The owner's mother had given it to her years before. She hated spiders and saw the potential value in it, so she decided to sell it. But the thing she didn't know was that an item worth thousands of dollars had been gathering dust in her drawer for the whole time. Rick gave her a brief backstory about Fabergé. Not only was Fabergé one of the most famous jewelers in the world, but also the jeweler of the Russian court. Not knowing the actual price of the spider, the owner asked for a tiny sum of $2,000.
How much were you looking to get out of it?
Couple thousand.
Okay.
And what do you think Rick did? You would never guess, because he absolutely rejected her offer and instead said it's more fair going for $15,000.
I'll give you $15,000 for it.
Oh my God, you gotta be me.
No, I'm not.
Explaining how he has consciousness about what he does. Sounds really cool from Rick, right? Well, it's a bit deeper than it seems. Although the lady tried going for even more than $15,000 now.
This is Vegas, and I just told this woman she hit the jackpot, and now she wants another spin.
A man that's willing to pay 15 will definitely pay 17
No,
for
he
that.
won't.
They finally agreed on the same price tag Rick mentioned.
I can pay you $15,000.
All right, you're a good man.
Okay.
Thank you.
But those $15,000 were still a drop in the bucket compared to the $80,000 to $100,000 appraisal that Fabergé experts put on the spider. Even though the owner got way more than she asked for, Rick definitely knew that it was far more valuable than 15 grand, especially since he didn't call in an expert, which made his intentions pretty clear. Still, the owner left the shop excited like she had won the lottery. Now I'm curious, would you sell these items to Rick or get them appraised? Also, you can check Rick's 5 worst lowballs here. Until next time.